The other, quote-unquote, major thing happening in the heavyweight division is the continued saga of Larry Zbyszko and Raven.
Of course, we finally get the reveal about Raven's girlfriend.
Yeah, there's a note that it was apparently meant to be, or at least they were thinking about it being Christy Hemme.
Interesting.
But also, it goes absolutely nowhere and is completely dropped.
Yeah.
December 17th, Impact franchise has Larry. He asks him about Raven, because Larry lost his cool at the pay-per-view. He's like, I won't lose my cool again. I am once again booking Raven versus an opponent of my choosing at the pay-per-view. If Raven wins, he will finally get his NWA World title shot he's been asking for, but if he loses, he will leave TNA forever.
He'll never come back.
The December 24th episode has a feature on Larry and Raven. There's a lot more butt rock on these shows, by the way.
Yeah, they got the big Spike budget now.
Yeah, they have the money for music.
To pay these artists an exposure.
And then on the Go Home show, there's also a feature on Raven and his woes. So there's not real much build to this. Like, Larry is hovering...
They've already done the build to this, to be fair.
Yeah, Larry is hovering around doing, like, Planet Jarrett stuff for the most part for the month, but he still has this little Raven side issue going on. So franchise has Larry at Final Resolution. He appears to be in, like, an attic of some sort with a bunch of candles.
Which, again, I always find incredibly funny to think of Raven, like, setting them all up.
Raven being like, you know what, we have to have a mood for this interview. We can't just come out and talk franchise. We have to set the tone.
Yeah.
He says that wrestling is the one thing that keeps him from blowing his brains out, and it's very upsetting that Larry Z keeps trying to take it from him.
I would be upset too.
That is not me paraphrasing him. He was like, this is the only thing that stops me from blowing my brains out.
And then he said, and I'm very upset with Larry for trying to take that away.
Yeah. Raven wonders whether his destiny will give him one last title run, or whether it's a ladder into oblivion.
Okay.
So Raven's mystery opponent this month is the returning Sean Waltman.
X-Pac. They're here to have a worse match than last time.
It is worse. They had a much better match. Was it at Hard Justice last year? But it is still quite a funny match, so I do approve of it.
Yeah. This is like more your WWF mid-card hardcore title style.
Yeah, this is what I would call a shopping cart match. And not in a metaphorical sense, because you could be like...
And I would call it a shopping trolley match.
Ooh. I would also call it a shopping trolley. It's the Americans' influence on me. But it's not good like, in a metaphorical sense, like a shopping trolley, because you'd bring it into a shop and bring like lots of different parts into the shopping trolley. So it's a mixed blunder. Not metaphorical, completely literal. They use a shopping cart a lot.
Which was like the Raven shtick of the time.
Yeah, so there's a lot of running and shopping carts into people's heads. There is my favorite part is Raven puts Waltman into a shopping cart at the top of the ramp and goes to run the shopping cart off the stage onto the floor, but he does it in a way that the trolley tips up and Waltman kind of falls out of it as it falls off the stage, lands ass first on the stage, and then bounces onto the floor in a way that probably hurt a lot more than would have if he was just dumped off the stage.
This is why I imagine happening whenever I'm on like a night out and my friends are like, get in the shopping trolley. And I'm like, no.
This is how it will go wrong. You should show them this clip. It's like, this is how this can go wrong.
Get in the shopping trolley.
So ref gets bumped on a missed clothesline, visual pin on the Raven effect. Larry takes over as referee. Waltman hits a low blow and an X Factor, but Raven kicks out. Waltman misses a Bronco Buster onto a ladder. Don starts getting mad at the cadence of Larry's counts. He says, I had 2 birthdays before he got that count in. Got him. Waltman X Factors Raven off a ladder through a table for the win, even though Raven got his foot in the rope, but Larry missed it. And I do appreciate like the way they did it. It was like, it wasn't like that Larry obviously deliberately missed it. Like Larry did have the plausible deniability of being on the other side of the pin and not seeing it. It wasn't the case that Larry looked at it, saw it, and still counted. So I kind of appreciate that more from the storytelling point of view, where he could be like, I did miss it. I actually missed it.
I think it's more like he's so hyper-focused on making this guy lose than, like, I'm actively screwing him in this moment.
So Raven is now gone from TNA. Cassidy Riley comes out. He's all sad. He's like, this is bullshit. Raven is like, no, stand down.
This is not bullshit.
He leaves with security. He seems to accept his fate. As Don, he's walking past the announce desk, and Don's just like, you got robbed! You got robbed! And pats him on the back. Don
is a ride or die, and we can all respect that.
And as a note in the Wrestling Observer, the Raven girl girlfriend storyline has been totally dropped, but at one point it was talked about for Christy Hemme.
Such a weird combination of people.
So we go to the announce desk as they're kind of reinforcing, which I do appreciate, that they do spend like 2 minutes of Tenay and West talking at the table about, wow, Raven is gone. They don't just fully to the back it. Well, they do. They go to Truth and then they come back to this. But at least they come back to settle in this moment, because like Raven is the former world champion. He's like the number 3 star in this company for the prior 3 years, I guess, behind AJ and Jarrett. So like
a 2-time wrestler of the year.
Yeah. So like I do appreciate how they did at least treat Raven being gone as a big deal, even if Tenay was like, he actively reminded us, like, remember what he said in that interview beforehand, that like this is the only thing stopping him from killing himself.
Yeah.
It's like, is he gonna kill himself? So,
yeah.
So the tease of this story is that Raven is going to kill himself because he lost this match to Sean Waltman.
Nice to put Sean Waltman over too on this one-time appearance.
Yeah, Waltman never comes back.
Well, he does. He does come back.
Well, yeah, he goes back in 2010, but he doesn't come back in this run. This is the last we'll see of Sean Waltman for 4 years.
Yeah.
He wasn't in as good shape as he was last year, and he did, like, this match was fine, but it wasn't nearly as good as the match he had with Raven in May last year, so.
Well, that was also cooler. It was just a cooler match, and they did crazier shit.
Oh, the finish of that match is so good when he back body dropped him into the cage wall, and the cage wall fell down.
It was perfect.
And that spot where Raven just walks him up the ramp and fucks him off the stage.
Yeah.
So good. Larry is also seeing Raven out. Jackie Gator comes up and says both her and Raven have been screwed, and it's a lot bigger than Raven thinks. Surely she should be like, I have the proof about how there was collusion about you being screwed. Surely, like Raven, she should be like, hey, you, we need to talk.
She should have done that like 4 weeks ago.
She should have been on Raven's side all along. Raven would have appreciated an ally. Maybe they could have just made Jackie Gator the woman in his life.
That would have made a lot of sense.
Tie those two stories together.
But then they'd have to do something with Raven.
Or Jackie Gator.